Nobody. No diddy.
I gotta let me tweet out the link.
You want to tweet out the link? I mean, that game was crazy that it just ended. Shout out to everybody that's joining us from YouTube and Twitter. I see y'all filing in. You feel me? My boy Nick is bold today with his Florida State sweater on. I mean, that's fandom. You know what I'm saying? He don't give a damn that they 0-3 and trash.
I watched. So I went to the game Saturday. I gotta say, that quarterback gotta go. He gotta go, man.
Look, I know we ain't gonna talk too much on this, but I know I said in the group chat he's awful, man. It's his third team.
He might be the worst quarterback I've ever seen in life.
It's your third team. Damn, come on, man.
I'm dead serious, dog.
I know some. He said ever. Oh man, that shit is hilarious. That is so funny.
I know 6-year-olds that could throw the ball better than him, bro. I'm just gonna be real.
I ain't gonna lie, I didn't watch a lot of the game, and once I saw Memphis, I was like, yeah, I'm straight. But at least you had a good time. I'm assuming, I know you want them to win, but you know how that go. Ain't nothing worse going to a game and your team lose or is embarrassing. Ain't nothing worse than that.
Just don't say, just for the record, this not me rubbing it in this time. I ain't say nothing about your team today.
Hey, but it's funny that she been brought.
Lo normally does. She trolls me every time, bro.
That's the funny part. Lo don't watch no goddamn college
football. She don't watch football at all. She'll just check the final score and be like, "Oh shit, look at this."
You know what? I always get updates. Like it must be a big deal because Bleacher Report and ESPN always sends me updates. So I'm like, dang.
It is a big deal that day.
I'm like, dang, they must really not be that good.
She's such a sister. She come in just talking shit right away. Like she
don't know what happened. She just checked the final score on her phone. Oh shit, they lost. Okay.
You know it.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. But welcome to episode 8 of the Best Damn W Show. Your favorite trio, Lo, Nick, Andre, Jay. Matter of fact, you need to change your name. It's time now. Cindy said it.
Oh yeah. Did y'all hear us? Did y'all hear our names on TV last week?
I got you. Hold on. I got you. Hold on, watch this. I got y'all, bro.
Hold on, wait. We gotta let her in here first. We can't have her.
Okay, go ahead. My phone. We don't want to take a lunch ride. We can get to going. Go ahead, Lo, do your thing.
So as Jay said, this is episode 8. We are deeply honored to have this legend, someone that I watched growing up myself, an LSU legend, 2-time all SEC first team, SEC tournament MVP, All-American, WNBA Rookie of the Year, and 2009 WNBA champion. We have none other than Tameka Johnson with us today.
Legend.
How are y'all?
I appreciate you. Yeah. How about yourself?
I'm good. Before we start, I promise you I usually don't sound like somebody, uncle, but listen, man, I'm around a whole bunch of college kids. They got strep throat going around. I got my team, my halls, and everything. I've been trying to get my throat together all day.
Hey, that's good. That's good though.
Don't hold it against me. I promise you.
No. But we're still glad that you've been doing it because you could have canceled. You could have canceled on us, So it's like I appreciate you not doing that because I know how it is. I was sick last week, and they told me one band, one sound, so I was up in.
I try to keep my word. Plus, I've heard great things about you all, so I was just like, let me make sure that I do my part, and I know how it is when you prepare for something and then somebody cancels at the last minute, and it sucks. So I was trying to hold up my end for sure.
Absolutely appreciate you.
I definitely appreciate that saying, and people are giving you kind words about us. I love to hear that. Oh my goodness! Like you just gave us that information, so I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that for sure. But how you doing? Like what's going on in your world these days? So let our listeners know and viewers what's going on.
I'm doing well. Can't complain at all. Just had a birthday probably like 10 days ago, so I'm getting.
Oh, happy belated birthday! Yes, for
Thank
sure.
You. I'm coaching at Western Kentucky University. Ooh, yeah, this is it's a different atmosphere. It's something that you're not used to, but something that is needed. So being in a position to be able to pay it forward and still contribute to our game, I'm happy about it.
Well, let me ask you about that because I remember I watched an old interview of yours. This is probably an interview from probably 3 years ago where you said you never saw yourself even get into coaching. So what led you getting into coaching, and how much have you enjoyed it since you started?
Oh God. And that's the truth. Like I know everybody think that point guard shit, we're the coach on the floor, and it's like it's a calling for you. Right after you finish playing, you go straight into coaching. But I think I looked at it as my life was always on the go. Like my house was just an expensive storage. I never lived there. I spent more time in the air than I did on the ground. So I kind of wanted to have my own schedule. Everything was always set for us. You always knew where you had to be, what you had to be doing, this game, this time, this city, and all this kind of stuff. So I was just like, when I'm done, I want to be able to have I wanted my own facility, like my own gym, to be able to give back to the game that way, but still manage my own time. And yeah, God said, yeah, I have something else for you. So after I retired, I coached, and he told me to announce retirement and coach high school. I said that got to be the devil. I know that ain't the lie. I know that ain't lie. You about to bring me all the way around the world and have the career I had to go coach high school? No way. But it wasn't until I went to high school, the 3 years that I was there, and I got up here, that I understood that the process was needed. I needed to take that process in order to get here, because coming from the league and coming to college, I would have assumed that they was already supposed to know certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Going to high school, and I say this in the most respectful way that I can, like I couldn't think any dumber. Like I had to dumb down so much stuff for them to grasp it. And I was like, what's going on? That's what made me started paying attention to AAU and how things was going. And I was like, the game isn't being taught the way it was taught when I was coming up. So I was like, okay, I really have to go all the way back to the drawing board. And once I got to college, it helped me because I never would have been able to reach these kids, because I would have thought, you're in college, you just got a scholarship, you supposed to know something. But I had to take that process because it would have been, I can't do this, I'm out type situation.
It's interesting that you say that, because even NBA coaches have literally said that. Like they'll say, and I guess it's different on the men's side because they can go straight from high school to the league. Or when they could do that, they could do that. So they say like the guys don't know simple things like a pick and roll or a post entry pass. These are things that you typically learn in elementary school. So it's interesting to hear, you kind of having that same experience now. And I think what do you think it is attributed to? Like, because like you said, when you grew up, it was different. You learned these things early on. So what do you like, because you coached high school, because you coached, because you looked at AAU teams and stuff like that, and even college now, what do you think is like the biggest, I guess, difference in regards to training kids up now versus training kids up when probably, when you were learning how to play basketball?
I think there's a lot of things, but the main thing is our training was outside.
Facts.
And we learned how to maneuver and do things by playing it or chasing for your cousins or playing with the people in the streets. It became like a natural instinct of just learning things, like just testing the water, seeing how far you can jump, or just competing in things outside. Now everything is a cone. You have a trainer, you have this, you can't do this, you can't do that. And for us, it was just instinctual. You're going to go outside, you're going to fight with this person. The next 5 minutes, y'all going to be playing again. You're going to get mad over this, and you're going to try to figure it out. I think everything now is who has the best coach, who has the best trainer. I'm going to put my person on this team because this one's going to get the most eyes and all this kind of stuff. When I was coming up in AAU in Louisiana, there was 3 teams in the area. And you did everything that you can to get the best possible talent all on one team. And we had an A group, a B group, and a C group. And we played and we competed with each other. We stayed committed with each other. We had a big sister from the older group and a little sister on the younger group to stay connected from that standpoint. When I came back, it was like 12 teams in the same area. And somebody's daddy was the coach of this team, and they wanted their daughter to be the best player. And it's not the same thing. I just don't think it's real life. Plus, everybody is a winner type situation drives me up the wall. You get a trophy. I'm like, what?
Insane.
I agree. I think it's funny because especially this year, right? A lot of basketball fans say, oh, the NBA is soft because they're not allowed to bang in the paint anymore. They call fouls. And then this year when they go to the WNBA, it's like, oh, they're fouling too much. Like this is wrestling out there. And it's just like, you gotta pick one. And I think that it's just interesting because I do also think that it's gotten a lot softer as well.
I think people are erring more on the side of entertainment than the actual game. Like we want more points on the board. We want more this. If you think about it, people will be mad at me. Think about it, like you watch the USA teams, you watch the Olympics games. Like they don't have a 3-second defense. They don't have a 3-second offense. Teams was able to play us in the zone. People was able to put that phone on that bar, and most of us whined and complained because we get that call in the league. But that's not the FIBA rule. Thank God for Steph, because he can shoot that thing completely. And the same thing happened. Like I'm so excited about the run, and I hope the run continue for the women. But her toe would have been a little behind the line. Gabby would have been sending the game into overtime. So it's a different thing. And the beauty of it, before we went overseas, we played. So we knew most of the people that we're going to be playing against. Now you got to take the pros with the con, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. The league is doing what it needs to do to try to keep us home. Great. But now we don't get the experience of going overseas. So it's like you got to take the good with the bad. And it'll be interesting for me to see how things continue to progress. Now we have enough people that have been in the situation to help lead us down that way. But it's different when you play against it and you compete against it on a daily basis. So I think all of that plays a part of it. And most of the world, most of society, they're not sure if they want us to be in the kitchen cooking or fighting each other. So it's like they don't know which one it is. Like they want to water down the men league, but then it's too tough for us when it's certain people.
Yeah.
It's always like
Got that right.
It's only stuff for us when it's certain people. So I ignore it.
Look, we only been on here 10 minutes and you already preaching.
I'm just saying, expecting me to do it to ignore it so the real New Orleans don't come out of me.
Listen, the New Orleans is fighting to stay in there. I hear that.
I can hear it. I can definitely hear it.
I definitely can. I ain't gonna lie.
I hear that.
Let me ask you this, like as far as like going back to coaching. So you mentioned earlier, how the point guard is the floor general, basically the extended coach on the floor. So from your perspective, what is the difference with being a point guard, obviously with what you were, and then being a sideline on the coaching side?
I think the difference is not stringing up those shoes and being able to do it yourself. You have to trust the fact that you've instilled enough in the people, in the person that's playing that position, to trust that they're going to do it. What I don't want is them to try to do it the way that I've done it, because that means that I'm taking away from them. I want to try to help them in every way that I can, meet them where they are, and just try to be an extra set of eyes of things that they don't see. These kids today are a lot different. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like when I was coming up, Dawn was one of like my favorite players. Like it was hard for me to find somebody my size that was doing the things that she was doing. So when I saw Dawn with the 96 Olympic team, I was like, dang, yeah, she's that person. It was only Dawn and Michael Jordan. If you ain't like Michael Jordan in my house, you might as well get out. It's not even an option.
Yes.
But I couldn't go to the internet and say, let me Google this person and let me find stuff on that. I can tell these kids, Google me. You can do it, like everything. It's still not enough. I turned 42. I still have to compete against them for them to believe what it is that I'm telling them. And it's a good thing that I can. And I can still beat them. When I beat them, they tell me, oh, you're supposed to do that. You was in the league. I was like, you know how many years ago that was? But they don't, if it's not the modern day phone, whoever's getting the most like these, some of these kids don't take heed to it. So that part hard.
No, it is.
Sure that
Tameka highlights are on YouTube. Just let that be known.
No, definitely. I'm gonna go back to when you was talking about all the kids getting trainers. So like, I never coach basketball, but I do football, and I see the same thing there. Like, what do you think? Why do you think like kids at 10, 9 years old, parents are like just throwing out this money now? Like, do they just think everybody's gonna make it to the league? Because at this point, because it makes it hard for us to coach. Like it really does, because you coaching them and then they go to a trainer 3 times a week and they parents dropping X amount of money. And so it's like, what it would like, I don't understand, like, why is it they're not even getting fundamentals like that, really, honestly. It's like they learn more from us, but I don't get why it does everybody need a trainer. Everybody got to do, like, especially in basketball, you see the broom drill. They really not even doing nothing. They're not really even teaching the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, they skipped all the way to the broom. Like, these kids not even going to be facing nobody that tall yet. So it's like, why do you think these parents are even pushing out all this money like this? Is it because they think this is like their meal ticket?
I don't want to say that that's the case for everybody, but I will start off by saying that knowledge is power. Like but if you just listening to the internet and social media, you think that that's supposed to take place. I think some people get caught up in, I don't want my child to be left behind. And I think everybody like the microwave society instead of trusting the process and just putting it up and letting it slow cook, because that's really what needs to take place.
Absolutely.
Everybody wanted instant. Everybody wanted immediately, and that's not the case. I think sometimes, as much as parents know their kids, I think they ignore the development stage. Like, some kids may be a late bloomer, but you're still trying to force it. And in that process of them trying to figure out who they are, you're forcing something, and then they fall out of love with it. I think parents, and it's hard, people like, you can't tell parents what to do. No, I'm not trying to, but I am trying to give the advice of allow the kids to enjoy it for the love of the game for as long as you can, because it becomes a business so early now. Like NIL, I want my money back. Like, y'all want some money. But I'm thankful that certain things didn't take place because I still love the game. I was able to enjoy, compete, and have fun while doing it. I'm also happy that I had life lessons and values. Like, I knew what it was to lose and say, okay, I need to pick myself up. Sometimes we try to protect the kids from not having to deal with the failure, when failure is actually something that helps you to succeed.
Absolutely.
And I don't think people pay attention to that enough. They just pay attention to social media and what is going on. And sometimes I think people need to be realistic with each other. Jason may be 5'8", like he may be the power 5 or whatever, and little Johnny right there still need to work on some things. Some people don't really like that.
They don't like hearing that.
I think that that's a part of it, like just accepting the fact that it's a process, and you can't skip the process. Like, it's levels to success, and some people try to jump the line with it.
They definitely do. They definitely do. Since you did bring up NIL, this is a big conversation. I always like to bring it up because my biggest thing with that is all the transfer portal stuff. And I don't mind players transferring at all, like in no sport. But how do you feel about, like, every year it's like when this player don't like what's going on here, and I get up, the coach leave, I get certain things I get, but it's like they don't like what's going on, and they transfer every year, but then they get to the league, it ain't gonna be like that. You're just not gonna be able to just be like be able to ask for a trade. So how do you feel about the NIL and all the transfer portal stuff that goes on?
Trouble on this podcast with that. No,
It's your coach, man.
What I will say is, one thing that you alluded to is they jump around.
Yes.
To the league. I say this. Most of the ones that go to the leagues pretty much stay put. Now, that doesn't mean that it won't be a handful in there that get to the league or whatnot, but most of the ones that are getting to the league that are successful and stuff like that have pretty much kind of stayed put or was there for more than 1 year. I think that helps because you need some stability. As far as anything else, I have nothing else to say.
I tried. I definitely try. I don't want to get you in trouble. I definitely want to get you in trouble. I definitely don't. Because I know coaches I know some coaches just don't care. They're going to talk about it and say how they feel about it. But I definitely wanted to see, because some people love it. Some people definitely don't like it for different reasons. They don't like seeing kids transferring. But I get the whole process. I understand why it's going on. Just wanted to see how you felt about it.
I will say that I still consider myself an athlete. So I don't want to overlook the process of how many people have paved the way for the athletes to have the opportunity that they have now. If the situation was changed and I was in it, would I be doing the same thing that they doing? Probably, because that's the times. But when I look at my perspective, I'm thankful that it wasn't like that. Like, I'm thankful that social media wasn't that big a thing. Like, it was just, we can love the game, do what we need to do. But the times that we in now, you have to kind of meet them where they are.
Yeah.
So for me, I still see myself as a as an athlete. And I sometimes struggle with that with my players. I was like, y'all have to understand that I've been there, done that type situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coaching because God told me to coach, and he did it because he knew that I'll still be able to relate to them.
Absolutely.
So I don't lose sight of that version of me because that's what connects me with them. So I get it from all perspectives right now.
I definitely understand that.
How?
Yeah.
Just kind of piggybacking off of that. When talking to players that have retired, some of them had a hard time transitioning from playing to life after basketball. And that's understandable just because most professionals have played since elementary school, if not before. So your identity is tied into whatever the sport that you are professional at. So I guess my question to you is, do you feel like you left the league on your own terms? And was it, mental hurdles that you had to kind of go through in order to realize like, hey, this chapter of professionally playing is over, but that doesn't necessarily mean that life in basketball is over, if that makes sense.
That's a great question. It really is. And I've thought about it from so many different angles. I wouldn't say that I left the league on my own terms, per se. I ended up tearing my Achilles when I went to go play in Spain. But by that time, I still was 2 years removed from the league. It was like at some point, the universe said the door was shut to Tameka Johnson and the WNBA was moving forward. But I still continue to play overseas. I've seen some of my teammates who really struggled, but I really have to say, because of my relationship with the father, it helped me more. And I really mean this. Like my grandmother raised me, she was an educator. And the beauty of it is she never really watched me play until I got to LSU. I lived with her. And I was pretty good, like I was like my uncles would come back and tell her she won this and she won that and all this kind of stuff, but my education was always important. She never really grounded me or fussed at me or nothing. She just always softly mentioned how important it was. And I'm a grandma's baby, so disappointing her wasn't an option. She never really had to yell at me. Like I just wanted to make sure that it never happened. Once I got older, I realized that I took it as this here. Life comes with highs and lows. My grandma stayed consistent. In the WNBA or me playing, whenever it was a great game or whatever, I was the best thing ever. And as soon as it was a bad game, I was the worst thing since sliced bread. And for her, she kept that balance with me. So I never allowed anything to get too high or too low for me. And then I also watched how things took place with my teammates that I was around. You go from being the best player in this area, then when you get higher, okay, now you got to kind of change things, and you have to. You might not be the best. You have to take on this role and all this kind of stuff. So it started to help me from that point. When God told me to retire, and He told me to go go to high school, I was just like, oh my God, no. But I stopped and I had something else. Like it wasn't like I stopped and I was searching for something. I stopped and I knew what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't like it in the beginning and I fought against it, but my life didn't necessarily stop. So that kind of helped me. So I still had somewhat of a purpose. As much as I didn't like it, once I got into it, well, now I'm responsible for these kids. So I have to make sure that what needs to take place. So it kept me from really getting to the depressed stage of not having anything. Right. People ask me if I miss playing. I actually didn't. I miss my teammates. Like I miss the locker room and I miss the travel, I think. The hard part being in high school was moving on the time of a bell. Like you sitting in the class, like we went from practice for 3 to 6 hours of a day, and now I got the rest of the day to do whatever I want. Now I'm sitting in the classroom from 8 to whatever time, and you got to move on the time of a bell. I struggled with that big time in the beginning, but I don't know if I struggled the way most of my other teammates did because I went from one thing and then had a purpose in it the next, right, immediately after.
And I think it's just so important that like you are just like a testament of what it means to follow God when you hear Him talking to you, because you're literally saying like, and you did not want to coach high school basketball. Like you're like, oh no, like this is, but I'm gonna still stay the course. I'm gonna still be obedient. And now look, and so I think it's just great for young kids to hear it. I think it's great for everyone and just staying still and be patient when God is talking,
And I'm telling you, I would be the first one to tell you, I was a pure knucklehead. I would not be afraid. And God said go right, and I looked, and that looked like it was a lot, so I went left. All the way around the mountain to go through hell and high water to come back to him to say, now I'm go right. Now I ain't gonna bump my head too many times, but in the process, I learned that if I would have went right, it probably would have been a lot, but he would have been in the midst of it. When I went left, I walked away from it, so now I felt all the bumps and the bruises and stuff like that, and it wasn't. I don't want to go through that again. You gonna say go right, okay? And I'm not wasting my time. So I wasted a lot of time going around that mountain. I don't want to do that again.
Right.
So keep posting. I appreciate that.
I love to hear that. I love hearing that.
Sure. But let me go back to LSU. So obviously that's a school.
Yeah, LSU, because I heard you with that little Florida State comment anyway.
Oh man, I didn't even know there was
Wait a minute.
Now, shout out to the SEC, they doing their thing. But as far as you going to LSU, I'm sure part of the reason why you went was because you're in New Orleans native, so that's close to home. But aside from that, was there another reason why you decided to go to that school?
Sue Gunner and my grandmother. Wholeheartedly. Like my grandmother never was one to make decisions for us. Like if we asked her about something, if she didn't like it and I was around her enough, she would be like, well, if that's what you want to do, then you go ahead, which meant I don't really like it, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. When I asked her about Coach Gunner, she was like, she absolutely appreciated it and what she stood for. And she answered me immediately. So I knew right then and there that was what I should keep my eye on. And then Coach Gunner it wasn't about who we were as basketball players. She told me 100% the wins and losses, she didn't really care about. She cared about who we were as young women. And that was the most important thing. My grandmother trusted me with her, and she said, your grandmother expects you to leave here a certain type of way as a young woman. So your character and who you are as a woman is way more important to me than wins and losses. And that was cool. She was like, I don't need to talk to you about basketball. You're competitive as they come, but your character is what's going to carry you a lot further than the game of basketball. So he stuck with me.
That's beautiful. That's for real. Like, that's seriously, that was definitely dope. But since you did stay home and go to LSU, I don't know if a lot of people. What's the basketball scene like in Louisiana? I know I don't, being from Chicago, I don't know a lot about it. I don't know if Lo or Nick know a lot about the basketball scene, but what is it like down there in New Orleans or Louisiana area for the basketball?
Super, super, super fun, Jay. You have to get down there. I know it's really fun. Like the people absolutely love it. And Louisiana is the state school, like everybody. And that's not to take anything away from any of the other universities around, but like I absolutely bleed purple and gold. Like I 100% rock for it. I'm super crazy during football season. They would tell me like, you should come to the game. I don't want to come because I get out of character. I need to be in front of my TV to be able to be myself. But
who did she sound like, y'all? Me.
Like I can't. Like I need to, when they doing something crazy, I need to be able to throw my remote and say the thing.
Right.
I'm not used to saying out loud.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
It's a fun environment. It's a family environment. Like the truth is, like, it don't matter when LSU play, when the Saints play, and whatnot, Louisiana on one accord. It don't matter. White, black, brown, blue, Creole, whatever.
I have noticed that. I definitely noticed that.
When sports are involved and your super favorite team, favorite players, and everybody are on one accord, like the whole state pretty much come together. But it's fun. It's a real fun time. The tailgatings people probably say the tailgatings are the best. Baton Rouge and New Orleans is slightly different because they got the second line in New Orleans. So we'll have the jazz bands or the trumpets playing and everybody eating and dancing at the same time. But it's fun. It's really fun.
I will tell you this. I go to Louisiana for, football games all the time. Saints. I actually am a LSU football fan that started in high school. So
Nick.
Nick. When did this happen? You never told me this. You never said this.
Okay. Oh, he acted brand
new. This is new. This is new to us.
No, like once like Nick Saban became the coach at LSU, that's how I became. So like in high school, like in 2001, 2002, that's how I became a fan of that too. But I tell her to say, like, I definitely want to see. I can see that the fandom out there will be the same for basketball because the way it is for football, I can definitely see it's the same way for basketball. I just never hear anything about every time from the South you hear about football. You never really hear about, stuff that's going on in basketball like that. So it's just good to hear from someone else to actually talk about it because, of course, online people want to clown, Southern States when it comes to basketball. And you can,
No, they can't. And especially not when Kim Mulkey's doing it at LSU.
Yeah, people try to clown. You can't do that. You definitely can't do that.
They can't. Women's basketball is sold out. Like it's amazing to me when I go back and I get the feel of how women's basketball was when we were there. Like what Kim Mulkey and her staff is doing and bringing the awareness back and bringing more attention to women's basketball is phenomenal. So most people can't really say that. But in all honesty, the South is football. Yeah. Like all of the schools are football schools, but the programs and stuff are phenomenal there. Like you mentioned Nick Saban. You think we had Coach Gunner, Nick Saban. All these people were on staff. You got Skip Bertman, Flan Flory. These was the coaching staff. That Pat Henry before he went to Texas and for track and like all those coaches were on LSU campus at that time. So the level of excellence that was preached and how it should be, each one of the student athletes pretty much walked and spoke the same language because those coaches, all Hall of Fame coaches, have done what they needed to do to instill it in every last one of us.
That's awesome. And I definitely noticed like LSU have like this big family. No matter what sports you play, it's like a big, huge family. And I noticed that even with the new show that just came out by LSU, like I forget what it's called, Money Game or something like that.
Yeah, the Money Game for the
so I've noticed that in there, but I'm glad.
I mean, and one of the gymnast girls that like Didi Bro was on that staff too, like on campus with them. Like so we had nothing but Hall of Fame people. You had any other option but to be successful walking.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, for sure.
So what can you tell us about those battles in the SEC? Because I know there was a lot of tough teams during that time when you played. It was you guys, it was Tennessee, a couple other teams too. So what can you tell us about those battles in the SEC during your playing?
I'll talk about Vandy too when they had Chantel Anderson. Around that time, they were something serious. Like, but I can tell you one thing: you didn't go to sleep waking up talking about something's gonna be a cakewalk. It was a battle every time. Every time you had to step on, because on any given night, whether you were in the top 4 or the bottom 4, somebody was coming for your neck. Like it was a competitive league, and it was really a dogfight, but it was fun. I don't think any of us cheered for the SEC as much as we did when they went against another conference. It took me 8 years to wear orange. I'm not gonna lie. I was listening. After I graduated, it took me 8 years to wear the color orange, and only because my grandmother told me it looked good on my complexion. I have seen some Tennessee people. If there's any other, I still don't like Rocky Top till this day. But if y'all go against any other conference, I'm SEC through and through, even against ACC or whoever. What conference Florida State in?
ACC.
ACC for now.
So still while we're on LSU, you got an opportunity to play with 2 arguably of the best players at their respective position in Sylvia Fowles and Simona Augustus. What was it like playing with such great talent, and just describe what it takes to just be a leader and be able to lead such great talent, because you were like their senior to them. So what does it take to just be a leader to great talent like that?
Before I talk about that game, I have to say it, and I'm not just saying it because I know they're both great people, and they're both winners. So it wasn't hard to lead people that want to get better every day, and they actually made me better in my position. Looking to make sure that I find them or feed them or do whatever it is, but they always had my back in anything that we had going on. So they're 2 phenomenal athletes, and like you say, arguably the best in their position. And I will go to war with them 2 any day, hands down. Don't regret anything. So happy that we were teammates. Loved our time there, but who they were was young women, and who they are women today. I'm excited to know that our paths was connected with one another.
Did a part of you ever wish that y'all could have played together as professionals?
I don't think I ever thought about that. I can recall when Moan first got in the league and we were playing against each other. I kind of forgot that we wasn't teammates and tried to give her a high five on the N1 and had to catch myself at the free throw line because it was kind of too fresh, you know. But I think we all just respected each other for it. I don't have the SEC record in assists without those two. I don't become the national point guard, the National Lieberman point guard of the year without those two. Our coaching staff surrounded me with a lot of great talent, and they helped me to become the point guard that I was. So I think once we got drafted, it was just making sure that we supported each other and wanted each and every person to be successful.
I mean, listen, you played with in the WNBA. You played with some great people there too. So you have some great.
You know who you want to say.
Go ahead and say hello.
Who you want to say.
Go ahead.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
You already know.
For the names that you sent me, so I'm just gonna assume that.
Listen, I didn't write that. He did. So that was him. However, my greatest player of all time to me is Candace Parker. So I'm gonna just throw that. So that's why they're laughing, because they feel like I have to bring her up every episode, and I will and do.
She deserves it. Like, honestly, like I was Candace's teammate, but you can't take away from how hard she works. And I was fortunate enough when Candace was a rookie to play with both her and Lisa.
Right.
So I got to watch her learn. I got to watch her learn from Tina and stuff like that. So Candace is a phenomenal player, and one that deserves so many flowers and all the flowers that she's got. Like you say, I was fortunate to play and be the starting point guard for some of the best women in the world and many of the Hall of Famers and future Hall of Famers. So I was really fortunate, and CP just happened to be one of them that I was able to. I don't know if I was able to assist her as much as she probably wanted to assist me. So it was because CP played 1 through 5. I'm a true point guard, like my girl. I need you to let me play my rightful position. But because of her talent, like, you just got to be able to accept it and appreciate it. And when you're in it, sometimes you don't appreciate it, but when you look back at it, you have to tip your hat off to her and acknowledge how much a phenomenal player she was.
Yeah, because when I was like just going back to look at the teams, I'm like, of course we know 2009 with Phoenix, winning the championship then, but I mean that team was low key stacked. Diana Taurasi, you, Cappy, DB,
Angela Smith, don't forget.
Yeah,
like Tan actually surprisingly she texted me today. She went to the Chicago Mercury game, and talking about her in the hallway, and she sent in the locker room and sent it to me. But that team was stacked. It was like pick your poison. Like, you either throw it to Diana, you throw it to Cappy. You got Tan trailing, you got Penny Taylor running, and you got Luana Bonner coming in. So yeah, I was kind of fortunate. It is what it is, but it was enough talent to where whoever got the ball could do something special with it. So that 2019 was really fun. It was.
Now, listen, while we're still in the 2019, did you experience any welcome to the W moments? Because on Twitter, they had a thread where WNBA players past and present would literally tell their welcome to the W moment. And 95% of the stories were about Diana Taurasi welcoming people to the league. So do you personally have any welcome to the league stories, whether, it could be a good story, a not so great story, but whatever the case may be, like, was it a moment where you thought like, oh yeah, I'm really in the league now?
Yes. I'm glad you said welcome to the league and not rookie hazing type situation. And I don't know if it necessarily happened to me, but it happened to my team.
Okay.
But I did have to guard this person, right? And it wasn't Diana, because Dee and I are like the same. So we have been playing against each other for a long time. It was Deanna Nolan tweeted from Georgia. Oh, listen to me. I'm just gonna tell on myself live. We're playing. That's when she was playing with Detroit. I was with the Mystics in my rookie year.
Yeah.
And I don't know what took place. Elena Beer may have picked her or whatnot, and I don't know what happened. I just know that I was at half court. And I'm not going to run because I'm thinking Elena have a straight layup. It don't make sense for me to get back. Tweety runs all the way down, blocks it to the backboard, lands out of bounds, comes back in and goes down and scores. Now, I need y'all to understand, I never moved.
You ain't. You still standing there.
I looked, she jumped so high to pin it, and she came down. I was like, oh. And then she went down and she scored. And Richie out of bottle was our coach. He was like, little one. I was like, I got it. That right there. I knew it was different then. Like, and then we go play Detroit, and they put me on, and I got to chase her around screens. The height difference was something else, and Tweety didn't just leap, like she soared when she went up. Deanna Nolan was a beast. That was my welcome to the league moment. Before I can even get to the people on the West Coast, it was on the East Coast with Deanna Nolan.
Yeah, and I think she's not talked about enough. Like, in my opinion, like she was super tough. Like, not talked about enough. One of the greats for sure.
100%. An MCC person, Nick. She went to Georgia.
I'm gonna be getting this all episode.
Yes, you are. You definitely are. You definitely are. Hey, what was the hardest? What was the biggest transition from going from college to WNBA once you got drafted? What was the hardest thing?
In college, everything is team oriented. In the WNBA, you're your own individual. Like, the hardest thing for me when I first got there was not having pregame meal. Like, I had to time how I was supposed to eat and what was going on. I was hungry as I don't know what. By halftime of the first game, I hadn't ate too early and I ain't won't feel heavy. So it just, I think more than anything, adjusting to the schedule. But I did have some phenomenal vets. Like, I had Muriel Page, Delisha Milton-Jones, Charlotte Smith. That was my vets my rookie year. And then when I went to LA, it was Shamika Holsclaw, and who was also not talking about enough. And
no, she's not.
Lisa Leslie, Mabika. So I had phenomenal vets my first 2 years. So they taught me how to do what it was I needed to do. So but adjusting to the schedule was totally different because you ate as a team. You did everything as a team. Like now, like the vets got their own schedule. Now, rookie, y'all go have, but don't go to McDonald's and waste your pregame money and all this kind of stuff. But trying to get acclimated to the schedule was kind of difficult at first, but you learn pretty quick.
I'm glad you said that about Shamika Holsclaw because I always say that she crawled so that Candace Parker can walk because she was the first player that I saw that was pretty much playing like 1 through 4, 1 through 5 to bring the ball down. Congrats to bring the ball down on the fast break. I'm like, we ain't never seen nothing.
I ain't never seen no girl do this before.
And the first thing that they put on Sports Illustrated and was like, is she the next Mike? Like, that's not what people talk about enough. Holsclaw was a dog, like 100%. And sometimes people, that's what I'm talking about, the highs and the lows. Like, I also had to understand that basketball was what I did. It wasn't who I was. They group, any mishap or whatever, it take away your legacy or tarnish it or whatever for you being a human being. And Shamika Holsclaw is somebody that I have a lot of respect for, and I 100% don't think get enough credit. She did a lot for our game, 100%, and still does. Even with her mishap, she turned it into something perfect when she did the mental health stuff and started talking about it and wanting to raise awareness to it and letting it know that that's an important thing with all the pressure that she had from high school to college to the WNBA, and I'm still killing. But it's no satisfactory to me. Like there's something missing. For her to be that vulnerable and share it, whether it was a mishap with the situation or not, it doesn't take away how talented she was and the things that she did for our game. I think Mika's phenomenal. And I don't care what nobody says.
Hall of Famer. I mean, it's you look at the numbers, it's not a debate. Like it's really not. Because when you have certain players that are in there, and that's no disrespect to the certain players that are in there. Right. However, when you really look at her from high school to the WNBA, when you look at the accolades, you can't really argue it. I mean, first of all, you can't really argue it, honestly.
Not at all.
Not at all. What was it like winning Rookie of the Year? Because that 05 draft class to me was actually really good. So talk more about that year. Like, did you go into that year, with the expectation to be able to come out with the award?
No, let me tell you, up until my name was called, I was going to Houston. I was going number 5 to Houston. The night before, I hadn't talked to the organization, talked to Van Chancellor, my agent and I, my family, we talked to them. I knew for a fact that I was going to be in Houston, which is cool. It's a 3.5-hour drive. It's an hour-and-a-half flight. It's close to my family. Everything is amazing from that aspect. But I went 6 to Washington, and it's a new start. So I thought I was gonna be in Houston, but I never really went. And so I ain't have a lot of history to it or whatnot. So okay, going to Washington, okay, perfect. I went in with the mindset of just being the best that I can be and trying to not come in as a hot-head rookie. I knew Elena. We're both from Louisiana. She's from up north. I'm from down south. We played against each other forever in AAU and college and stuff. So having somebody that was the same age, I just went back to school. So she was a year ahead. I was like, okay, cool. I'll get in there. AB, what's up? See what's there. Delicia's there. Paige is there. So I just wanted to learn what it was, but I was just going to play to the best of my ability. And it worked out like that, honestly. But prior to it, I didn't think I was going to be a Mystic, and I thought I was going to be a Comet. 100%.
Interesting, yeah.
When Van got to LSU, I was like, bro, you robbed me out of a top 5 pick. Johnson, I just watched it too much. I was like, what does that mean? Y'all needed a point guard. Y'all didn't need. They took Sancho Little, which they didn't need a post player because they had Tina Thompson.
Right. They definitely needed a point guard.
Yes. And up and prior to that, I was going. I knew for a fact I was going to be playing with Tina. And
that would have been real interesting though, because Tina was there. Wasn't Cheryl still there too? I want to say she was still there.
Still there.
Yeah, I know so last year. But yeah, speaking of just the draft class in general in your rookie year, I'm kind of transitioning to current times now. We see all this popularity that the WNBA is getting currently right now, and especially with this dynamic rookie class. So in your opinion, talent-wise, would you say that this rookie class is ranked like top 5 all time? And I know that's definitely subjective. No. Okay.
No. Yes, sir. No, and it's not disrespectful, and it's not
at all
a knock.
No, it's not. It's not.
Best, it's not even the best class in the last 10 years. It's like you think let me tell you who people don't give enough credit to. They don't
tell Lo what's up, man.
Let's go. I love this. I'm sitting.
Talk about Stewart enough. Now, Brianna, if you really want to talk about it, when has she lost? She won in high school. She won 4 in college. She got 2 in the league. She got Olympic medals that we don't talk about enough. I think social media hypes up a lot of stuff. How long ago was Maya in them class?
Was that 2011?
Yeah,
that sounds about right, Nick.
Yeah.
It's so many different people. I don't think that this was the best class. I think social media has made this the best class. I don't think that this is the best class at all. And there's so many people that have come along. I think people fail to realize when people looking at and they looking at how many followers that they have on social media, they fail to realize that the league has been here 27 years. You know how many people came before that? Now, don't get me wrong, what they're bringing to the league is absolutely phenomenal. But what people don't understand is before TV wasn't following our game just didn't just become what it is because now people get to see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been successful. It wouldn't have lasted as long as it has been. And I think that's the things that people lose sight of. I'm all for what the attention is bringing, what this class is bringing and the attention that is bringing. But guess what? Y'all know how social media is. Y'all know how TV is. What's going to happen with the next class? Because guess what they're going to talk about? They're going to start talking about Paige. They're going to start talking about
Juju.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Talk about Juju.
You talk about Fuwale. You talk about both of the guards that's at Notre Dame.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
And let's be honest, if you're looking at these players right now, would you say that they're better than this class right here? Right now. Because I saw somebody say this. And Lo, I like your eye, so I see that you.
I'm literally.
But that's because Lo. Because Lo's already said it. She thinks that this is the best draft class of all time.
And so, hear me out.
I'm listening.
And I've been watching since '97. I'm not saying that they have the best player. I'm talking about collectively. I'm not saying that they have the best players in, of all time in this draft class. But the way that I kind of look at it is not even from a popularity thing, but from in my opinion, this season, I have never witnessed so many rookies, number one, start, but then also get significant minutes like to this level, to like this effect. Like you literally have two rookies starting in Chicago with Angel and Camilla. You have JC Sheldon, who was starting sometimes with Dallas. You had Cam starting before she got hurt. Now Rakia starting because of injury and stuff like that. So of course, Caitlin and all that. So in my opinion, this is not the only year, but this is one of the years where I've seen a bigger impact in regards to like them actually starting right away and kind of being like, not the faces of their respective franchises, but for lack of better words, the faces of their respective franchises. Like, I don't recall the only time before this, I recall like within the last probably 10 years and it's probably more than that, is when they had the, what do they call it? The 3 to C with Brittany Griner, EDD, and Skylar Diggins. Like, so they came in and even they struggled a little bit because Skylar's first year, she didn't do fantastic. Like, she didn't transition like everyone thought she would. Initially. And so in my opinion, this year, I feel like the transition's a little bit better than I expected. Maybe that's the best way to put it. It's a little bit better than I expected.
That's a valid point. 100% everything that you said, but you also have to look at the times. There was different rules back then too. And during the time where we all came in, or when everybody came in, it wasn't no Olympic break where people got to work on their games and have that month break where they can come in and do all this. There wasn't necessarily in the beginning when I came in the league, it wasn't where you couldn't touch nobody 3-point line to 3-point line.
Right.
Everybody get the freedom to do what it is that they want to do. So from that perspective, yes, I think people gonna be so mad at me for saying this.
Say it.
Don't worry, I'm good on social.
Slandered all the time.
I respect Caitlin Clark.
Oh yes.
But I also think that Caitlin is a better passer than she is a shooter.
Been saying that.
Yes,
been saying that since college.
I think that she's a better. And I'm not just saying it because she broke my record. She helped me to know that it was up there because I didn't even know that I had the assist record for the NCAA. Promise you, I did not know it was up there almost 20 years. Thanks, Caitlin. I appreciate it. But I think that she's a better passer than she is a shooter. Now, I'm not taking away from her ability and how well she. But if you think about it, if you think about Caitlin's game, Caitlin has to come off of a screen, and she doesn't do anything to create a lot of stuff for herself. She has to have a screen or whatnot. But it doesn't matter what she's in, she's gonna find that pass. She gonna always put the pass on the money. Now with the rule changes of not touching anybody, giving people the spray, she has the freedom to get her shot off. If that was then, no, that wouldn't have been the case for her. But on the other hand, I think because of Angel's heart, and I listen, she's a Tiger, so I'm all for it. Angel be out there like she playing 21 and it's the last bucket. Like she gotta go get it. You know, like I'm going to get it. I'm getting it. I'm making sure that I'm going back to 13 type of situation. I think because of the banging ability and the heart that she have, I think she could have played in any era. Would it have been as successful off the rip with Lisa and them and others? Probably not, but how she plays, I think it could have fit in. I don't think that necessarily wouldn't have been the case for Caitlin, but I think if you surrounded people with Caitlin and you got a guard type situation, but I do think that she's more of a phenomenal passer than she is a scorer. She just has the ability to do more because everybody wants points and scores, so you take the physicality out of it.
Agreed. I've been saying that since college, and people have been calling me a hater, and I'm like, she sees the floor very well. Like
so good, so
she
well.
sees plays 2-3 plays before it even happens. Like I even went on the limb and said, like, I think she will go down as one of the best passers ever in the WNBA. Like she
puts it in the right places.
Yes.
In the pocket,
in a place to be successful.
And all you have to do is go up with it in school, like or go up with it and shoot. Like it's right in their passing window or their catching window. Yeah, like literally right in that pocket. So she's special. For more reasons than one, but definitely her passing, in my opinion, is the best part of her game. I agree.
And that's why Indiana's been more successful throughout this year, is because she's prioritized more in her playmaking. To me,
I don't think that Kelsey Mitchell get enough credit.
Agreed.
Talk about it. Come on, man.
Come on.
Sorry, like people talk about Caitlin, and I get it, but when they was talking about Caitlin in high school, it was Kelsey Mitchell, Deja Fair, Caitlin Clark surpassing them numbers that they had put up. And I think people fail to realize Kelsey can flat out score. And sometimes when you're in a situation and it's a lot of hype around newcomers and what the league want and what the people want to see and all this, you have to find that niche. What has happened for Indiana with the Olympic break, they had an opportunity to do what it is, to get the time that they need to gel together. You don't always get that in the league during the summertime because everything happening so fast. But the Olympic break helped them. And by Caitlin them not being on the Olympic team, now you get to keep your team there to do what it is that you need to do to get better for the second half of the team. And in that mindset, because Indiana was losing.
Yeah.
Before the break. Now they killing and you get to ride that wave. But I don't think Kelsey Mitchell get enough credit. And I think that they also started to utilize Aaliyah Boston a lot more. So hats off to Christy.
Look, they better start giving her credit or she up out of there this summer.
I'm gonna say she is free agent.
Something that they don't want.
That's what I said. I said they are in a great place right now. They remind me of like a baby version of the Aces because they were able to build through the draft. And so they have the foundational pieces they need. They can't lose Kelsey. They literally cannot lose her. Like
she's a baller for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me ask you this: who is your personal favorite player that you love watching in the WNBA right now?
Asia Wilson.
That's who we were going to talk about next.
Yeah.
We're bringing the plane in for Landon.
And it's weird because I think that I would say a guard or whatnot, but Asia's killing it.
Yeah.
Like
Unanimous.
All cylinders, offensively, defensively. And it seems like she's on a mission. Her teammates understand the mission that she's on. And she's enjoying doing it with the group of women that she's doing it with. With everything that comes with her and with her name and everything, like that's a lot. But for her to still be locked in and do what it is that she's doing, I don't care what anybody say. If this girl don't get unanimous MVP, something wrong.
You know that's not gonna happen either.
I don't want to hear no fourth place. I was like, whoever picked that girl to be fourth, you didn't unleash the beast because that's unheard of. Right. But for her to be, and her game has grown every year. Like from SEC people, we watch us, we keep in touch. Nick, we watch, we're going in the SEC. So from her from South Carolina to everything that she's done, to her extending the three, to her just like putting the ball on the floor, like she's extended her game to her. She's a well-rounded player, and she plays on both ends of the floor. She's one of the most exciting people for me to watch because she plays the game. Like it's not like she's doing it for show. And if she's doing it for the show, I can't tell. She's competing out there every time she steps on the floor, and that's what I appreciate.
And the thing I respect most about Asia is from game one of this year, you could tell she was just focused. Like she was locked in. She wasn't playing on the court. Like she was focused from game one, and she really has not let her foot off of people's necks. And
not at all.
And the fact that she's 28, really just getting into her prime, like people should really be nervous. And I just want to throw these stats out here really quickly. So as we know, Asia Wilson reached 1,000 points in a single season. And I just did a little digging because last year, Jewel Lloyd scored 939 points in 38 games. And in those 38 games, she hit 115 three-pointers. So that accounts for 345 points total, okay? Meaning 1/3 of her points came from three-pointers. When you look at Asia, she's only hit 19 threes this year, which is improvement from last year, which is great. She's shooting a three over 34%, which is great. But my point is that literally she was able to get 1,000 points on pretty much traditional twos and then get in the and one, the hard way. To me, like when you think about that, like that is absolutely nuts. Like she scored 1,000 points in 37 games, where it took Jewel Lloyd 38 games to score 939. So it's just, I feel like, and we talk about this ad nauseum all the time, like Asia is not getting the respect she deserves. And we also, as a sports society in general, we are very guilty of not giving people their flowers when they're here to still smell them. And I think people are missing a mark right now. Like we are literally witnessing history, like literally witnessing it right now. And people are just acting like it's a random Tuesday. And it's like, no, like this girl is, every night she steps on the floor in between those, lines, she is breaking some type of record. Like I think she's a few rebounds away from breaking like the most rebounds, or it's another rebound stat. So it's
actually breaking Angel's record for
right, exactly.
for the single season.
Right, rebounding. Right, exactly. And she still has 2 games to do it. I think they just started playing now. But still,
12.
like
She'll have that probably tonight. She needs 12. She'll probably
okay.
Oh yeah, that's easy money.
So okay, listen, that's another record done. So like if you really think about the season she's having, and with an additional load with Chelsea being out 12 games and them having injury and stuff like that, with the investigations and all of these things that are on this 28-year-old's back, and she still shows up every day for her teammates. She still shows up for that organization and just really puts her head down and does the work. Like I just think that it's a disservice as media in general that she's not talked about enough. Like after she scored 1,000 points, I literally, because I don't watch stuff like First Taking That, but I literally turned to it the next day to see if they would talk about it. Oh, it was like it was like a little ticker at the bottom. And then, but we talk about Caitlin Clark getting hip checked for 4 weeks. Like, make it make sense.
Again, I'm not going to say anything on that. I am going to say that I'm going to add to what you said. Like one of the things is that's being taken away from is mid-range.
Yeah.
Asia's mid-range is phenomenal. And most people only want to get to the basket or shoot a 3. They've taken the mid-range. Mid-range person. I lived in Darwin. I wasn't a 3-point shooter in college. I have to catch me if you can. I use my speed. I'm gonna get you to it, and I'm pulling up. Like mid-range is important. Right. You don't see that a lot, but it's effective. And Asia will take you, and then she'll just pull up from the free throw line, which is something that people are not really paying attention to as much. But her mid-range is on point, and she's done it the old school way, the effective way, and she continues to dominate and make it make sense in today's game. She's hands down one of the most exciting people for me to watch right now. And that doesn't take anything away from the rest of it. It don't take anything away from Jewel, because I like that Jewel is successful in what she's doing and what Noel's doing over there in Seattle and stuff like that. And I think Seattle is a phenomenal organization. But Asia right now is killing it across the board.
Across the board.
Yes.
So I only have I have 2 more questions, and I don't know how many I have, but
I got 2 more too.
Okay.
We locked and loaded. Well, go ahead. Go ahead, Lauren.
All right, 4 more questions, and then you free. I promise. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, so this is the SEC question, since we've been talking about the SEC. And Lo, you might not be too fond of this, but since you were a pastor, Tamika, I wanted to get your thoughts. How you feel about Raven Johnson from South Carolina? Because to me, I think she's by far one of the best, if not the best, passers in college.
I respect Raven's game. I respect how far she's come and how hard she's worked to put herself in a position that she was in. You got to look at it like the game before they won and went 38-0. They wasn't even looking at Raven as a factor.
Mm-hmm.
And for her to be able to put the work in an off season to come out and play the way that she's been able to play speaks volumes for her. I think it's too hard for me. It's too early for me to say whether she's the best passer in the SEC or in women's basketball right now. I think that she has a huge platform. She's under one of the best point guards that ever played the game. So I think that her scale to grow is big. She has a big margin from there. And I think that it will continue to excel. But me being the point guard that I am, I can't give her that right now. But I am a fan of her, how hard she's worked to put herself in that position.
That's real.
Same thing I said. I mean, basically. Same.
Me and Love are going at it for a while now.
The thing, like Raven is the kind of, she's like I don't want to say like an old school point guard, but she's not a score look to score first type of point guard, right? And that's fine. Like we don't always need somebody that's looking to score first. Mm-hmm. That's fine. I just feel like in order for her to play, because the WNBA is such a small sample size, it's 144 players. I feel like in order for her to secure a spot in the WNBA, she has to improve like her game, like period. She has to be an offensive threat. she has to just improve, period. And I think, like you said, she is under Don Staley. She has so much room for improvement that I wouldn't be shocked if with these next 2 years or so, she's she's ready to play by the time she gets there. So that's all I'm saying. He's ready to throw in the WNBA right now.
I never said that. I never said that.
Look at Destiny Henderson that played for them.
Right.
She got as talented as I thought she was. She moves all the way down to 21st or something in the second round and stuff. So you got to look at it from that perspective. You're looking at it from South Carolina and what she's able to bring to South Carolina, but how would that transition into the league? It's much faster, it's much more physical, and you got to be able to translate it. Right now, she has a good stick to improve, but she's made leaps and bounds from that year where they didn't guard her to her being like, you better guard me type situation and putting. So I think that she will continue to move in that direction, but I'm with Lo on this one. She have to continue to grow.
Yeah.
But I like her. I do.
Right. She's a great prototype of a point guard, but she's got to get a little bit better. So my question was, we do this thing where we have like a Mount Rushmore, right? So it's players that you not necessarily a top 5, right? Yeah. Not necessarily a top 5. So it's 4 players, but it's players that you deem to have changed the game. So it doesn't have to be the top 5 that you think are the best players of all time, but just, I'll give you an example. Like some people might say, oh, Lisa Leslie, because she was the first one to dunk. Or, on the men's side, people might say Steph because he starts shooting logo threes and now everyone's shooting that. So if you had to pick a Mount Rushmore of 4 players that changed the women's game, and I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Definitely putting you on the spot.
Who would you pick?
How far back am I going? It's like Cheryl Miller type situation.
You can go
do that.
As you want.
Yes, you can. Cheryl Miller. Yes, you can definitely put her on there. Yes, I love that name.
Miller, the best Miller sibling.
Get on Reggie Miller, boy. Go ahead.
You gotta put Cheryl up there because
absolutely
of what she was doing way before her time, and it was still phenomenal. I would have to put Diana on there. The next 2 is tricky for me because you're just talking about how they changed the game.
It's tough.
It's really tough.
It's tough.
That's tough because
it's been so many great players.
Look what you did, Lo. Look what you did, Lo.
I know.
All right, Cheryl, Diana.
You need 2 more.
Tameka Catchings.
I love that.
I like that. Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of brownie points up in here with that one.
Wow.
I love that you did say
that.
Okay.
And to me, it takes nothing away from Lisa, Candace, none of them. Sil was like Benjamin Buttons to me. It was like the older she got, the better numbers she got. And she dominated the paint. I ain't gonna say with ease, but it was so effective. When she did it in Chicago, but when she got to Minnesota, it was like a different person to me. And knowing how she was when she was at LSU, just to see the changes of how she accepted who she was and her role and her position in the game. I think from that aspect to dominate that position like that, I would have to say that. But I promise you, that's probably one of the hardest questions that I've had to answer because there's a lot of women that has done so much to change our game. Tameka Catchings played on both ends of the floor. Hands down, like
both sides.
What she was doing and the work that she put into stretch her shot to the 3-point line, take you out there. She was strong as a bull. Like it's hard to not give her flowers as well. But I was fortunate to play with a lot of them, and it's kind of hard to just have 4. So I need like a couple Mount Rushmores around each other because it's a lot of phenomenal women.
I'm glad you said Catch because a lot of people leave her out of these kind of conversations. She's in my top 5 of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you're humble and you don't do all that, and it's not a lot of stuff for people to talk about, you kind of get kicked to the side. But those that know the game and know the truth will always say it. And Catch is probably like one of my top 5 players or people in the WNBA period because of who she was as a person.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tamika, real quick, what was it like facing against her in the finals?
It was it was tough, but I'll never forget after we won, and we get one at home, and then they take one at home, and then we get to Indy, and they win game 3.
Mm-hmm.
I say, Lord have mercy, Jesus. And now we win game 4, so it's tied 2-2. We got to go back to Phoenix. Now at this time, it'll be my first championship, and it's also Catch's first championship, and she was hungry for it. We had the same trainer in Marvin Harvey, so I knew how much work she had to put in and the stuff that she was doing. After we beat them, we're coming across, and she hugged me so tight and told me how much she was happy for me and how proud she was and all this kind of stuff, and it just elevated who she was as a person to me even more. If it was anybody that I would have been okay with losing a championship to, and you don't hear many people saying that at all.
Mm-mm.
I would have loved to see Catch get a championship, which I did get an opportunity to see her get one the following year, the year after. So it was cool.
And my last question is, it's not basketball related. Just because you're from New Orleans, what are your thoughts about them not inviting Lil Wayne?
God.
That was gonna be my question, but cool. That was gonna be my question, but go ahead. You good?
It's crazy. Now that is crazy, Nick. That's crazy because we didn't discuss that at all.
We didn't.
Well, because I don't know exactly how that work. Like, I'm not in that world. I think it's as a person that's from the area, I think it's absolutely crazy not to have that, but I don't know the ins and outs to the reason why or whatnot. But he's like one of the main people. I ain't gonna say the only one, because Master P has been phenomenal. You know, of bringing awareness to a lot of stuff, and so many other people. But to not have him a part of it, kind of make you look sideways at the people that's making the decisions on who they're gonna bring. So I think it sucks for us in the community, and I think I saw Wayne talking about how it kind of hurt him a little bit, but sometimes I can't say that it's the situation at home, but sometimes you're not always welcome or accepted at home.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people at home don't want you until other people do. But I don't know the ins and outs of what took place on who was doing the picking and choosing, but you don't leave Wayne out of it at all. That's like telling Usher he can't be in ATL.
Facts.
It don't go together. So I think it's
okay. Well, we appreciate all your time. Look, we kept you on all night, but we appreciate all your time. We had a great conversation, and you're welcome to come back whenever. Did you guys have anything else?
Man, no, I enjoyed this conversation. I just love talking. I just like getting people on here, like you on here, just talking real hoops. Like people don't get to hear that because, especially on Twitter, like you said, we don't get real basketball conversations. It's just box scores or people doing, highlight reels. It ain't real hoop stuff, and you was giving us that, and I really do appreciate that. Even you being sick, you was coming here and giving us that real info.
Making the atmosphere easy to talk about. Like, it's easy to talk about basketball, and for y'all to have the knowledge that y'all have. Like, it's not like you was just searching for questions. You can tell that y'all really invested in what it is that y'all doing. So that made this even better. I do want to add one thing to it. I do have my own foundation, and it also has to do with Coach Gunner. Like raising awareness to Alzheimer's. I'm hosting an event in 2025 to raise awareness. Her mom had it, and so it's important to her, and I want to do something to try to keep her legacy going. So I have the Hope Foundation. Everybody used to tell me, because I was so small, I bring them so much hope or whatnot, but it stands for Heaven Opens People's Eyes. But I'll be hosting that event, raising awareness, and especially in the Black communities. Because what I learned in doing it and the research, it actually starts in us first. It starts in Black women, Black men, white male, and then white women. And the culture that most of us are brought up in is you keep everything in house, and you don't you're not always aware of the wear and tear that you're putting yourself through, trying to make sure that you're the one that's taking care of your loved one. And there are so many different resources out there. So trying to raise awareness for that and honor Coach Gunn to keep her legacy going and just making sure that I do my part in giving back in every way that I can. So I do have a foundation. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yes, I love that. It's funny because I literally wrote it down and then I missed it. Can you shout out the website for the foundation?
HeavenOpensPeoplesEyes.org. That's what it is.
We're gonna definitely put that in the description. Yeah, definitely gonna put that in the description.
Some stuff as we get closer to it on the flyers and stuff. I'll definitely let y'all know. And just raising awareness to it. I think people don't know that there are as many resources as there are, and I just want to make sure that I can help in any way that I can with trying to lighten the burden, because it's kind of hard when your people start forgetting you and don't remember who you are. And some know how to handle that.
Yes, I'm glad that you're bringing more awareness to it. I'm actually in the health field, and so I deal with patients that have dementia or Alzheimer's. So we have to educate their family on how to handle them or deal with them, because it does get difficult for a lot of families. People, the disease changes people's personalities, so sometimes they're a little bit, short fused or saying things that they don't necessarily mean. And even though people realize that they have this disease, even when they still say things, it doesn't feel good as a caregiver, and it's so many times that caregivers have so much caregiver burnout. And it's hard on both sides. This person didn't ask to have dementia, and now this person to kind of take care of them for the rest of their lives. So I see it, I see it all the time, and I'm glad that you're bringing awareness to it. And it's Black women are the number one highest rate of Alzheimer's. So I'm just glad that you're bringing that to the forefront, especially with a platform like the WNBA, which is majority Black players, so that people can get, checked or just look at the resources that you guys have for that. So I think that's super dope for sure.
That's super dope.
Appreciate it.
Facts.
Absolutely.
You're all right, man. Even though you're a Florida State guy, I ain't gonna hold it against you.
That is so funny.
Right now, being a fan.
That is so funny, man.
I don't even watch college football, and I give him crap all the time. So he gets it from both of us.
Oh God.
This is so funny. Oh man, this has been fun. Any more questions for anybody? I don't have any more.
We're gonna let her go. We've been talking to her.
Yeah,
We can talk a long time. You should see our group chat. It just goes all day long. But man, this was fun. Are you on Instagram anywhere for our viewers? Everybody want to follow you and keep up with you? I don't know.
Instagram and Facebook, Tameka Johnson.
All right, bet. We'll put all that.
Team Sunday is Quick Deuce, though. I still hadn't changed it. I need to change it because I'm not as quick as I used to be. And that number that hung up in the I mean, Quick Deuce is on Twitter, but I don't know if I'm as fast as I once was. I might need to change that. But
keep that, man. I like that. I like that handle. Keep that handle.
Still hooping at 42, so keep that up there. Keep that up.
Right. As soon as I know that it's a wrap, I'm changing it.
That's fair. Well, man, shout out to everybody.
Just real quick, one more question. We'll get
go ahead.
So, what can you tell us about your team this upcoming season?
Oh, okay.
I like that one.
Okay, Nick, you trying to get in good graces?
Right. Yeah, look at him.
We have a new team. We have some people that we got out of the portal. We got some depth. We got some size. We needed some length. We got some shooters. So it's still kind of new. We still trying to gel the pieces together. I'm excited but nervous at the same time, because right now it's looking like it's good. We only at 8 hours a week right now. We hadn't gone to 20. So we'll see how the adjustment comes, and then we're only competing against ourselves. I think if the staff do what it needs to do to try to get them prepared, it could be a promising season, but I'm completely honest. I'm excited and nervous, and I'm kind of waiting to see how it turns out. But we have more depth, more size, and definitely more shooters. So that will help us tremendously.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna be checking it out then.
We definitely gonna be checking out and supporting for sure. Definitely.
Thank y'all for having me. I absolutely enjoyed it.
This was fun. I'm glad that you felt comfortable. That's how we want it. You come to our house, you comfortable here. Take your shoes off and talk hoops. I'm glad. Everybody out on YouTube, I appreciate y'all. Everybody who's on Twitter, watching and listening. Real quick in the chat, Jada, this is the second time you came up here and you only spoke to Lo. Listen, She is not David Ruffin, and we are not just the Temptations. Okay? Just I want you to know that, Jada. You just don't come here speaking to one person. Yeah. That's episode 8. I'm Jay. That's Lo. That's Nick. That's Tamika. This is the Best Damn W show. We out. Peace.
Thank y'all.